Welcome to the first match of the evening. It's Proxima Station, spawning to the top right hand corner, spawning as Protoss. No, actually, yeah, it's spawning as Protoss. It's Horsemaster, never mind. And to the bottom left, playing random, but spawning as Terran. In pink, we have Azylis. So purple versus pink, thanks for that color choice, ladies. But I'll do my best to still keep up. We have a refinery right after the depot, or if I just want to pull a full de Muslim here, I'd rather say depot. So gateway opening for Horsemaster, nothing all too unusual, plus the assimilator right behind it. We'll see whether Azylis actually wants to go for an early push out here, what she actually kind of likes to do with Terran. Sometimes feels like Terran might not be the strongest of the three races when she plays random, because, I mean, in most games we actually saw her cheese when playing Terran. There always was some sort of timing attack, mostly off of one base, sometimes even straight up proxy cheese. And even this time around we have one worker already making its way towards a certain location, while the other one is following that probe down here. And there we have it, proxy factory incoming. So I think we're probably about to see another cyclone cheese, I guess, because that is actually what she's been doing quite a lot, especially against Protoss, but also against Zerg. So like I said, with Terran, most of the time she relies on cheeses. Let's see what will come out of this factory right behind it, or right once it's finished. And there's the second SCV, might even also be able to throw something down, maybe even double factory build here. Fairly interesting though. So we already have this area sealed, so no way for Horsemaster to actually get a good look inside the main base. Well, Horsemaster herself is not really worrying all that much. Seems as if she actually, no, does not want to take a base down here. That would be ridiculous after just having taken that one. So she just makes her usual build, tries to get some sort of tech out, and there the first Cyclone is already in production. So it seems as if both of these SCVs just stand around in order to get some more buffer for the first few Cyclones. No, never mind, there's the second factory, so full out double Cyclone production out of two factories here. Fairly interesting though. So let's see. Actually fairly interesting. I don't know if that's actually the smarter way to do it. Maybe you could just also get... I mean, it takes some time to get a reactor out, and then during that time you cannot really produce a Cyclone, but still, I mean, having the double production right afterwards and wasting money or spending all that money into a factory, I don't know. So first few Marines are also out, more and more Marines are rallied across the map, so yeah, like I said, this is a full all-in. If Horsemaster is able to hold this, she should be fine. The question is, will she be? I mean, right now she only has one adept, maybe a second one out, with the Resonating Glaives upgrade incoming, but actually these units do not really deal that much DPS right now to Cyclones. I mean, the Marines are toast, but the Cyclones should actually prove to be a problem here. So I think the second factory is just important for the timing, so that you will actually have out these two Cyclones already, not having to wait for like the other one. So, now moving forward, Horsemaster still had this probe standing down here, so she now knows that something is up, but still, she only has two adepts here. The first adept goes down in an instant, the second adept just trying to shoot at the Cyclone, but the SCVs are even counter-repairing. Finally, we get the photon overcharge up, but unfortunately a little bit too late. The pylon has already been taken out, which is really unfortunate for a Horsemaster here, because that one pylon was actually powering both of these gateways. So right now, and unfortunately even catching that probe right behind that pylon, so it won't be able to produce that other pylon as well. No more photon overcharge left, and even if there were, this pylon will probably die in a minute or two as well. Yeah, there it is dead, so nothing more left to defend. Lady Azylis sniping down all of these pylons, and Horsemaster can just leave the game. 1-0 for Azylis. Second map is Ascension to yours. Spawning to the bottom right, we have our purple Protoss. It's Horsemaster. And to the top left, playing random, but spawning as Protoss, it's Azylis. Protoss used to be her main race in Seasons 1 and 2. So it probably still is her strongest race, I guess. I mean, years and years and years of gameplay just don't go away that easily. So she should probably feel most comfortable with that race. So Horsemaster this time around going for an early scout. I think she also did throughout the last game, but unfortunately missed the proxy factories and didn't go scouting anytime later on. So no way for her to find it and be well prepared. I mean, she had a mothership core ready, she had 2 adepts on top of the ramp, but the push was just too strong in order to counter it. This time around, actually, double gateway opening there for Azylis, while Horsemaster just goes for a usual build. Seems as if she just wants to expand straight away, which could actually prove kind of difficult, since her opponent is opening with 2 gateways. But we'll see if Azylis will actually be able to pressure her opponent and maybe even deny that base here. No pylon so far for Horsemaster, getting the cybernetics core out here. Actually, what you really want to do as Protoss, if you expand fairly early on, especially in PvP, is to have a pylon close to the nexus here. So once the cybernetics core finishes up and the mothership core pops out of that one nexus, it will be able to fly down straight away and fire up that photon overcharge if need be. So after Azylis has seen that her opponent went straight into an expansion, she wants to take an expansion of her own, is already producing Stalkers, while Horsemaster has just built an initial Zealot, which actually is not really a good choice, I feel, in PvP, since Zealots can just get kited by everything else that a Protoss usually produces. I mean, a Zealot is really weak against Adepts, since Adepts deal extra damage to light units, which a Zealot is, and Adepts can even easily kite this unit, because Zealot is a melee unit, while the Adept is a ranged unit. And the same goes for Stalkers. Stalkers can even more easily kite a Zealot and take it out. So, usually Zealot not really what you want to have early on in the game. I mean, maybe later on, once you get Charge, since it's become an easier to get upgrade with the last patch, we could maybe see a revival of a lot of Zealots. But so far I think a Zealot not really the best choice as the first unit. Just my 2 cents. So, robotics facility going down for Azylis as well. It seems as if both just want to get their economy up. Actually, it would have been in Lady Azylis' responsibility to go across the map and apply some pressure towards her opponent, since her opponent took her base way earlier than herself, so usually Horsemaster should have the economic lead. Unfortunately, she skipped some probes here, so she does not really, she's not really that far ahead than she could be. I mean, there could be, this nexus has been done for like, I don't know, even 60 seconds maybe before the nexus of Lady Azylis, so she should be ahead way more probes by now. So more infrastructure finishing, also going right into the +1 upgrade here. Fairly interesting, I have to say. Mostly Stalkers for Lady Azylis. We don't see a Twilight Council for Lady Azylis yet. Seems as if she rather wants to go into Stalkers and Warp Prism play, so she wants to get aggressive. So first the Immortal, then the Observer, then the Warp Prism. And then she will probably walk across the map and try to apply some pressure towards her opponent. Sentries, quite interesting. We might see some good force field usage, we'll see. So Horsemaster sends out her Sacrificial Zealot, because that Zealot should actually not make it back home safely, will at least scout the move out, probably. Oopsie daisy. Yeah, we'll scout the move out of all of these units. Ooh, Azylis actually even retreating with all of her units, thus losing her timing, unfortunately. Yeah. Now she realizes that these Stalkers will suffice in order to take out the Zealot. But now, of course, Horsemaster knows everything. She knows that there's an army headed towards her. So what is she going to do? Right now, actually, it seems as if she's not doing anything. I mean, she has 3 units out. She's not producing any more, waiting for charge to arrive, but nothing else happening. Probably waiting for the Templar Archive to finish so that she will be able to morph at least some Archons, but one Archon? I don't know. I mean, Azylis taking the detour route here. Went towards a potential third that's not out here, waiting for the Warp Prism to arrive to warp in another round of units. So, still, Horsemaster has some time, but she does not have any defenses up, no pylons whatsoever. I mean, she will not even be able to warp in right at the front. She will have to warp in back here, and even that would probably be slow warp in. So most of the time, she would have to warp close upwards that ramp and then only move down. Azylis still taking her sweet time, just managed to get in a few more adepts and is now moving towards Horsemaster's base. There is a mothership core, but there's nothing to overcharge here, and I think Horsemaster only realizes that right now. No, okay, sends out the probe, wants to see where the attack is coming, or if it is coming. No, actually wants to expand, never mind! Did she even realize that there was a huge big-ass attack headed her way? It doesn't seem like it, and there are the units. Fortunately for Horsemaster, these Zealots at least have charge, but she moves them back immediately, realizing that she does not have enough units in order to take out these Stalkers and Immortals, but these 3 units will not suffice as well. Very unfortunate for her. Like I said, it seems as if she never actually even realized that an attack was headed in her way indeed. So she never bothered to really prepare, was just churning out a few units here and there, just in case her opponent might be going for an attack sometime soon. But this is GG, and Azylis takes the 2-0 lead. Odyssey is our third map, spawning to the top left-hand corner in purple. We have our Protoss player Horsemaster, and to the bottom right in pink, playing random but spawning as Terran once more. It's Lady Azylis, playing for Team Red Bloods. So let's see if she'll do something similar once more. Like I said before, in I think almost every match throughout the season where Lady Azylis spawned as Terran, she did some sort of cheese or 1-base push. I don't know, maybe there was a 2-base timing push. I don't really want to exaggerate that, but yeah, at least it's a very big tendency, we can say, we see in Azylis play here, should she spawn as Terran. So let's see what's coming up this way. Horsemaster just with the scout gets inside the base. We'll see that there's gas already been taken. Did she see that? She saw the gas. Okay, never mind. Also wants to go for the second gas. Sees that it's not been taken. And will hopefully move out before another building blocks her way. So, and then we can actually see that this SCV is already preparing to take a base down here, so seems as if there's not going to be any sort of cheese build by Lady Azylis this time around. Still, might go for a 2-base timing attack. We'll see. Horsemaster in the meantime taking Nexus. Just like always, doing her good old routine build. It hasn't worked out for her that well so far, but let's see if the early expansion might actually help her to overwhelm a Terran that might actually go for some sort of macro game. So, typical standard Reaper in order to get some scouting information. There is indeed a Reaper stair inside Horsemaster's base, so Lady Azylis should be able to get a good scout off without losing the Reaper. Supply depots right here. Yeah, Lady Azylis wants to make sure that no Warp Prism flies in unscouted. Just wants to illuminate a few of these dark edges of her base. That's why the supply depot is positioned where it is. So Reaper moving in. We'll see the base and that it's almost done, or we might actually even see it, yeah, finishing up. Okay, moves in not via the Reaper stair, but moves in via the normal ledge. Okay, might even actually be able to get one of these probes. Usually you don't really want to attack the probes that move into the assimilator and out, because it's more difficult to target them, but she's still got 1, 2, actually even 3! Wow, that Reaver was totally worth... that Reaper, not Reaver. That Reaper was actually totally worth its money. I mean, if you get 2, it's already okay. You actually want to get 3 if you're an excellent Terran, but even getting 4 is such a big deal. Getting so many workers early on is really a great thing. Unfortunately, in the meantime, while microing everything, Lady Azylis totally forgot to produce anything else, and now has to start with her 2 SCVs once more, so she could even be further ahead than she actually is. But yeah, it's easier said than done. So, Starport coming right behind it, and there's a tac lab, so we might actually see a switch into Banshees here later on, once these once the add-on at this building finishes. Oh, actually there's an engineering base, so we might actually... early engineering base. Maybe it's just for turrets, maybe it's for Hellbat play? I don't think so. No, there's a tank. Okay, never mind. That would have been really odd. So probably just for upgrades and for turrets, in order to get some detection that doesn't need scan. So Horsemaster now out with the Adepts. Reaper tries to move in, sees that the Adepts are there, and decides to take the detour route via the Reaper stair in the back in order to get inside the base. We'll probably scout everything, but actually it's just the typical Protoss build. Nothing you wouldn't have expected to see. Okay, Lady is unfortunately knocking herself out a little bit. The Mothership Core a little bit out of position, but will now probably drive it away. Let's see if Lady Azylis will be able to get out eventually. But of course did not get the scouting information over here, only saw the Twilight Council, not the Robo facility, but still, like I said, I mean, this is the most typical standard Protoss build there is. So, I mean, if you just play your normal style, you just should be safe against this anyways, because nothing surprising will be headed your way, so you can just play your standard game via your opponent's standard game, because both standards game are safe against each other. And then all it comes down is just execution. And if you do correctly. So it's not like one of the players having a strategy advantage or a strategic advantage over the other one by just choosing the better opening or choosing an opening that hard counters the opponent if unscouted. In this case, both players just going for the typical standard composition and build. Actually, tanks are a little bit unusual, but yeah, that means that strategy is not that important anymore in this matchup. It's more about executing those strategies and who does it better. So, actually, Medevac is already out, so I think we should see a push out by Lady Azylis here soonish, very soonish, actually. Usually you just want to wait for the first 1 or 2 Medevacs, but in this case Lady Azylis just wants to wait for the reactor, it seems, and a few more barracks to finish up. But with that many barracks, actually she would normally be totally all in, but she's just gathered a lot of resources she now has to build away. And that's why she got a command center and actually 3 barracks more worth of production at the same time. Oh, even getting a sensor tower, which is something we rarely see in TVP. And especially in the FSL, most Terran players we see don't actually use the sensor towers to their advantage. I think sensor tower is a really nice building, especially if you play a little bit more static. But of course, if you want to be the aggressor and you have the more mobile force anyways, then of course a sensor tower is not really needed. Stimpack actually pretty late, we have to say, so it will still take some time before Lady Azylis can actually move out if she wants to wait for Stim. And in the meantime, Horsemaster preparing a nice push here, and these tanks are unsieged right now, but unfortunately Yeah, the sensor tower, of course, gave it away, so Lady Azylis has some time to repair. Horsemaster was not advancing further on, while standing right inside that sensor tower range, so she gave her opponent time to set all of her defenses up, so the tanks are now sieged, and Horsemaster can only retreat right now. Maybe contain her opponent a little bit by just leaving the army right at the edge of that sensor tower ring, still keeping her opponent afraid a little bit that a bigger push might even be incoming. Yeah, Horsemaster probably wants to wait for the Twilight Council and the Forge to finish the upgrades. Is also getting the Templar Archives right behind it. Are there actually that many Zealots in there? Only 6, we have to say. More Adepts, actually, but... oh, actually, never mind, the Resonating Glaives is already done. So yeah, there's a scan. Lady Azylis wants to know how big exactly that army of Horsemasters is, and if she can dare to move out with what she has or not. And I'm really positive that she can. I mean, not before Stim finish. I mean, oh, I don't know. I mean, even with that, with what she has, it could be critical. And you never want to underestimate the power of Speed Zealots and Adepts with Resonating Glaives. In the meantime, third base going up for Horsemaster. So I think it's a wise decision there. If you're not certain you can take the force, just lean back a little bit more. I mean, it's still no problem for her to take the third base over here, since Horsemaster doesn't have it under control. I mean, Lady Azylis cannot really know that. Would have been a wise move there by Horsemaster to just send out one Zealot over to this location and even down to this location in order to make certain that your opponent would not fly out buildings without you noticing it. So more reinforcements arrive. Don't know why they actually ran all across the map when there's a war prism in here, but whatever. So now it seems, is Stim done yet? Yeah, Stim is done now, and we also have the combat shield upgrade. So now it seems Lady Azylis deems the time to be ready for her push out, trying to overwhelm these forces. This could actually be quite problematic here. Everything's moving out, but the siege tanks are not sieged here, but unfortunately the firepower of the Bioforce seems to be more than enough in order to drive Horsemaster away. This Immortal is a free gift donated, unfortunately, there. But the recall works quite nicely. It transports all of the important units, or mostly all of the important units, out of the danger zone, right back to the natural base of Horsemaster. She is one base up, but actually Lady Azylis managed to get this base saturated rather quickly. She also has more workers, and if we have a look at the income tab, well, still Horsemaster actually looking a little bit better, but that will not stand for long with these mules coming down. And now we can see how a Terran works. There we see it go up. Yeah, but it seems as if the... yeah, this is totally oversaturated, and that explains it. Totally oversaturated over here, slightly oversaturated over here, while Horsemaster's bases seem to look a little bit better, so that explains why, despite having less workers in total, she's still mining a little bit more effectively. And there you can actually see how much that actually makes a difference. I mean, being 12 workers down, this is only a difference of 500, and you cannot forget the mules. So actually the difference is fairly low, we have to say. Maybe actually at the beginning, before the mules dropped down, there wasn't even any, and Horsemaster was even mining more efficiently than her opponent with having 12 workers less. So there you can just see how much of a difference that can make if you don't distribute your workers well enough throughout the game. So there's the big push. Horsemaster has no idea now she does, but most of the units are standing in the back. Do these Templars actually have Storm? They have Storm, but they're not moving forward. Finally, Horsemaster realizes that she has High Templars with Storm available in the back. Most of the Bio forces die. Now it's only the Immortals, but still half of the forces of Horsemaster are not fighting against the army. Finally crushes the army, but actually that could have even been a way more decisive fight there for Horsemaster. Lady Azylis actually taking the supply lead, but she didn't even have to do that. That was really unfortunately by Horsemaster not having watched her army and having like like I said, like half of the army was not fighting in that battle, and the High Templars were at the front way too late. They could have easily annihilated that push and could now just move across the map, maybe even destroying her opponent. I mean, there's not much defense here. Lady Azylis actually moving out, will probably be caught out open on the map, but yeah, unfortunately a lot of these units are just moving in bit by bit. The one Archon gets killed as well. We have at least a few storms here. One goes down, not the best storm. Second storm a little bit better, but mostly Horsemaster's units moving through here. Yeah, and now her army is of course way smaller than it could have been. So she has to retreat for now. I think she does not really want to stand there out in the open like that. But Lady Azylis has retreated as well, is now moving out once more with some more reinforcements. And she already has a healthy production up with a lot of production facilities. But like I said, was probably floating some minerals and gas mid-air. It's not quite normal to have 3 bases up. I mean, this force has just started running, and having that many barracks on only 3 bases is not the normal thing you see. But yeah, I mean, now it's helping her out quite a lot, especially after having taken that gold base at the 4th. And again, a lot of army units not actually being inside the fight. Where are the storms? It seems as if there were no storms available, so unfortunately Horsemaster has to transform all of these precious High Templars into Archons, of which only 1 survives. Yeah, and now the sheer DPS, I mean, army supply is saying everything. 70 army supply difference here, and without the AoE damage, there's no way in hell Protoss can take this Bio Ball. So Lady Azylis pressuring through, GG by Horsemaster, and Azylis takes the series with a 3-0.